Hello, good morning, students. Welcome in today's class through online teaching. In today's class, we are going to start a new poem. Its title is To a Skylark. This poem was written by P.B. Shelley. In today's class, we will complete the remaining part of the poem To a Skylark. All the earth and air, it means the whole atmosphere or everywhere on the earth and in the sky, with thy voice is loud. Thy voice means the voice of the skylark, the word song. As when night is where it means when the sky is cloudless in the night. Where means cloudless. From one lonely cloud, the moon rains out her beams, and heaven is overflowed. One lonely cloud, it means from one solitary patch of cloud or isolated cloud. Rains out means sends forth. Heaven is used for the sky. Overflowed, it means flooded with light. Flooded with light. Her beams, her is used for the moon. Moon is personified. Her beams means rays of the moon. Rays of the moon. Heaven is overflowed. It means the sky is full of moon's light. And the word song. In these lines, the poet is describing about the flight of the skylark and its song. The poet says that the song of the skylark pervades the earth and the sky, and the whole world is filled with it just as the sky is overflooded with the light of the moon, sending forth its beams from behind a solitary cloud on an otherwise cloudless night. The points of comparison are: just as the moon itself is hidden by a cloud, so is the skylark invisible in the distance. Second, just as the moonlight, in spite of the cloud, spreads over the sky completely, in the same way, the skylark's song, in spite of the distance, fills the whole of the upper and lower regions. The poet says that skylark's song fills the earth and the atmosphere as completely as the moonlight emerging through a solitary cloud that covers the moon spreads from one end of the sky to another. The word cloud suggests the metaphor rains out, and the same metaphor is continued in the word overflowed. What thou art, we know not. The poet questions to the skylark. He says that what thou art we know not. It means what is your reality? Who are you? We know not, it means you are unknown to us. What is most like thee? What is most like thee? It means we do not know another word that is like you. From rainbow clouds there flow not drops so bright to see. Rainbow cloud means clouds transfigured by the rays of the sun. Flow means pour out, rain out. From rainbow clouds there flow not drops so bright to see, as from thy presence shower a rain of melody. It means pouring out the word song. In this stanza, the poet P.B. Shelley says that the real nature of the skylark is not known to us. It is totally unknown to us. We do not know the real nature of the bird skylark. It is not even possible for us to think of anything that closely resembles the skylark. As it flies up and up, it sends a shower of rich music to us on the earth. The music flowing from the skylark is much more pleasant and bright even than the bright and shining raindrops falling from the clouds. The poet says that the word is something mysterious and unique. He says that the drops of rain that fall down from cloud surrounding a rainbow are peculiarly shining because of sunshine behind them. But even this beauty is nothing in comparison with the sweetness of the song that the skylark sings. The poet does not know definitely as to what the skylark actually is and with what it resembles most. It is a mystery to him whether it is a bird or a spirit. But one thing he knows that it is this: the melody of the skylark's song excels in beauty and charm even the lustrous raindrops that fall from the rainbow clouds. Like a poet hidden in the light of thought, singing him unbidden till the word is wrought, to sympathy with hopes and fears it he did not. In these lines, the poet is confused because he does not know what type of creature the skylark is, whether it is a bird of a spirit of anything else. He does not know what it is like. In spite of this ignorance, he describes the skylark and its song through his poetic art with the help of similes. The song of the skylark is more impressive than rainbow or any other creation of the bird. P.B. Shelley now tries to express what is most like the skylark. First, he compares it to a poet. P.B. Shelley, in these lines, compares skylark to a poet. The height to which a skylark flies and the dazzling light of the sun, they prevent us from seeing it. So the very sublimity and brilliance of a poet's thoughts prevents him from being understood. The poet's songs are like him, they deal with lofty themes. As the bird sings with unpremeditated art, so the poet sings unbidden. He is impelled from within. As the skylark's song breathes a joy not known to, but envied by men, so the poet sings. The poet compares the skylark to a poet who is immersed in the light of his own thoughts, which are so mysterious and profound that they cannot be easily understood by the people of the world. The comparison between the poet and the skylark is very clear. The song of the skylark is audible, but the word itself is invisible. The song of the skylark is audible, but the bird itself is invisible. The poet writes poetry and his song can be heard by ordinary persons, but they cannot fully understand or see the poet's mind like the invisible. Like a high-born maiden. Like a high-born maiden. High-born maiden means a girl born in a noble family. In a palace tower, it means palace tower in a separate room in a palace, soothing her love laden soul. Love laden soul means love sick heart. In secret hour with music sweet as love. It means with music sweet as love. It means the song of the beautiful lovesick lady, which is as sweet and charming as her own love, which overflows her bower. Overflows means fills, or we can say floods. Var means private room of the lady, private room of the maiden in her palace. Poet P.B. Shelley compares Skylark to a beautiful young maiden of high worth. This girl is supposed to be residing in a palace tower where she sings songs of love. She is singing these songs to get some relief by giving an outlet to the intensity of her passion of love. Her songs are as sweet as her passion of love. The girl herself is not visible because she is in the tower. She is in her personal room. But the song of the girl overflows her apartment and is heard outside. The skylark too is invisible to our eyes, but the sweet music of the skylark is audible to us. The simile in these lines is highly suggestive and romantic. The comparison between the skylark and the love-lorn maiden is very clear. The skylark sings from a great height in the sky, and the maiden sings from her high tower in the palace. Both of them are hidden from the gaze of ordinary persons. The bird sings spontaneously out of joy, and the maiden sings spontaneously out of love. The melody of both is sweet and charming. The bird's song fills the whole atmosphere, and the song of the maiden fills her lonely chamber. So the poet compares the skylark with a noble maiden imprisoned in a palace tower, relieving her love-laden heart by singing. We find a beautiful simile in this stanza in which the word skylark is compared with a maiden, like a glowworm golden in a dell of dew, scattering unbeholden its aerial hue among the flowers and grass which screen it from the view. In these lines, the skylark is compared to a glowworm which diffuses its light in a low valley amongst its dew moistened flower and grass, unseen because the latter hides it from being seen by others. The glowworm is invisible like the skylark and goes on shedding light like the bird, which goes on singing its sweet music, thou itself invisible on account of having soared very high up in the sky. In the previous stanza of the poem, the poet compared the skylark to a poet hidden in the light of thoughts and to a maiden belonging to a noble family. Now he compares it to a glowworm. He says that the skylark may be compared to a glowworm flitting about in a dewy dale and spreading its pale, airy light over the leaves and flowers among which the insect itself is hidden. Just as the glowworm itself cannot be seen while its light is seen spreading all around. In the same way, the skylark itself is invisible, its songs alone are heard. The glowworm is invisible like the skylark and goes on shedding lights like the bird, which goes on singing its sweet music, thou itself invisible on account of having soared very high up in the sky. Like a rose embowered in its own green leaves, by balm winds deflowered, till the scent it gives makes faint with too much sweet those heavy winged thieves. Embowered means hidden as in a bower. Balm winds is used for summer winds. Deflowered means robbed of its fragrance and sweet smell. Balm winds means summer winds. By deflowered, it means the rose is deprived of its fragrance and sweet smell by the wanton summer winds which take away the fragrance of the flower to distant places. Till the scent it gives, it means the fragrance taken away from the flower by the winds. Heavy winged thieves, it means wings laden with the scent stolen from the rose. In this stanza, the skylark is now compared to a rose which lies covered in its own green leaves, but which emits sweet smell, which is carried away by the winds, which becomes low as if their wings were laden with sweet smell. The poet says that we may not be able to see a rose which is wrapped up in its green leaves, but we shall certainly become conscious of it because of its sweet scent. When the warm wind blows, it seems to rob the rose of the rose's sweet fragrance. Indeed, the wind which steals the rose sweetness becomes so heavy with that fragrance that its movement becomes slow. The presence of the skylark is not visible to our eyes, but we become aware of the presence of the skylark because of its sweet songs which are loud enough to reach our eyes. It is a beautiful simile between the sweet smell of rose and sweet music of skylark. The rose is deprived of its fragrance and sweet smell by the summer winds, which take away the fragrance of the flower to distant places. The winds loaded with the fragrance of rose are compared to thieves who run away with rich booty. Here the fragrance of the flower is the booty and the winds are the thieves. The winds become slow in their movement on account of the burden of fragrance they carry, like thieves running away with a heavy booty. Sound of vernal shower on the tinkling grass, rain awakened flowers, all that ever was, joyous and clear and fresh, thy music doth surpass. In these lines, the poet again refers to the word song. It is the freshest, brightest, and clearest of all things in the world. As the drops of rain fall on the grass in spring, they shine and tinkle like stars in the sunlight. These are the brightest things. After a shower, flowers seem to be washed like a child's face and awakened from sleep. These flowers that bloom under the soft spring rains have a especially fresh appearance. The music of the skylark is sweeter than the music of spring flowers. It is fresher than the flowers that bloom under the soft spring rains. The music of the skylark is more joyous than anything joyous, clearer than anything clear, fresher than anything fresh. The poet feels that the similes and metaphors and comparisons do not adequately describe the skylark and its song. Hence, he compares the bird to all the beautiful and joyous things of the world, and points out that the music of the bird is superior to all the bright and joyous things of the world. The music of the lark excels all the music sounds and the bright and fresh things of the bird. The song of the skylark excels in joy, clearness, and freshness. The music produced by the spring showers falling on the bright and sparkling grass. It excels the beauty of the flowers which blossoms after the rain. In fact, it excels everything that is joyous, clear, and fresh in nature.